Revelation 3:10. And I will make them the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thee, thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee. Revelation 2:9. I know thy works and tribulations and poverty, but thou art rich. I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Call Halal Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakah HaKodash. Double honors into the apostles, double honors into the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. 144,000 future judges and the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners among the heathen that look like those heathen, and to the few akwaf that are listening and learning to you, I say shalom. And the two scriptures that I read in Revelation, all right, in proper context, those scriptures were talking about wicked Israelites, all right. But remember the duplicity of the scriptures. The scriptures are many-fold. And in this day and age, that's referring to Esau, Edom. All right. And this guy, Matthew Nolan, I guess he's a pastor or a historian. But he goes heavy on Esau, Edom and showing you that they are not the people of the Lord. Although I've never heard him speak about the northern kingdom. And he also, as much as he comes against the people who have stolen the heritage of Israel, he uses their form of Hebrew when he speaks. There is no U's in Hebrew. There is no O sound in Hebrew. There is no A sound in Hebrew. All right, let me open this door for a second. Come on. Salakia. Got a big spoiled dog that thinks he's a 2-year-old. Wants attention all the time. But yeah, there he uses the Yiddish based Hebrew, and which isn't proper. All right, let me see if I can find a receipt real quick, because he's going to use a couple of receipts, and I'm going to let him talk for about 10 or 11 minutes, and I may interject now and then to bring out a scripture to correct or edify on a point. But let's go to my that's the Lord. Went right to it. Well, this is the definition that I screenshot. You can see it for yourself. You can, just bring it into so you can screenshot that. And that's from the Winston Simplified Dictionary, 1933, with biblical references, dictionary encyclopedia. But it says Yiddish, German, Jewish, a kind of mixed German and Hebrew language spoken by Jews and written or printed in Hebrew characters. All right. So adjective, Jewish. Remember, the suffix ish means to be like. Okay. The suffix ish means to be like. So like a Jew, but not quite. All right. And that term is just made up. Remember the tribe of Judah. All right. Remember, the J sound wasn't around. Yahweh spoken properly, never referred to themselves as that JEW, and so they created that word, and they've created a whole doctrine, and a lot of confusion is connected to it. All right. If anything, they would say Judeans, but they never referred to themselves as that word. All right. That's something that's new, like the letter J. And I forget the guy's name. I can never remember his damn name. Apostle Tahar even put it up on one of the videos, but it was in the 1500s, 1534, if I'm not mistaken. He started playing with the letter I and put the hook on it and gave it another sound. That's where the J sound came from. So there's no Jehovah, no Jesus, all right? And this guy kept using Yahushua. That's not correct. His name is Yahushua. There is no U sound in Hebrew, all right, at all. See if I can find another receipt. Evidence folder. Here we go. So I have one a breakdown of the word Hawa. And you put the Yah meaning he, and Hawa means exist. He exists or he is when you put the Yah in front of it. Hi, call hello. Here we go. So H3064. You can't get Hashem out of Yahweh. All right. They don't say the name because the name is a curse unto them. All right. Yeah, self-existent or eternal. And see, Jehovah, Jewish, national. So there's no J there. They added that. Remember 1534. So what was he being called before 1534? All right, you have to consider that and think about it. Saw something pop on my screen that I wish I'd have moved it, but Lord's will. That'll be fine. But anyway, without any further ado, Matthew Nolan, and speaking on the Edomites, the Amalekites on top of that, who profess to call themselves the people of the Lord when they are not. They are in fact the Ishes. They are very Jewish. Won't take that from them. They're definitely Jewish. But they're not Israelites.
I can throw some money at the internet too, and I can get a genealogical printout that I'm a Jew. So that's not going to work because that's fraud. That's why the Israeli Interior Ministry is the verify what I say. That's what's being heralded. Will that be taken up? Like I say, I doubt it. But we need to look at the bigger picture. We truly do. Because this is not about me. And ultimately, it's really not about Rico. It's about something far greater, far more depraved that's infiltrated our very, very congregations. The kind of thing that the Apostle Paul, that Yochanan and the prophets spoke of about that would happen in these last days. It is the uprising of the synagogue of Satan and all that it encompasses. So having explained that as a picture.
So let me lamb back on what he just said and go to one of my favorite scriptures, which is Ezekiel 36:2-5. And it reads, "Thus saith Yahweh power, because the enemy have said against you, Aha, even the ancient high places are ours in possession." Verse 5, 36:5, Ezekiel. "Therefore thus saith the Lord power, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen and against all Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession, with the joy of all their heart, with despiteful minds to cast it out for a prey." So that didn't happen in the ancient world. That happened not even a century ago, or barely a century ago. Actually, it was a little over a century ago when that declaration was written, and then it was implemented. And it was written over a century ago, and it was implemented in 1948. They actually did it. And that prophecy, this prophecy was fulfilled. Now, I was just reading about the Maccabees and how they were fighting Edom. All right. They were fighting Edom in the ancient world. And, and then the Edomites were forcibly converted to follow the husbandry of the Lord. They didn't call it Judaism or Talmudism or any of that. All right. It was the law, statutes, and the commandments. It was our way of life. There was no ish or no J words in it. All right. And because, man, chapter 12 itself will make the most amazing movie. Probably be better than both the Gladiators combined. But they can't, because then that would make people read the Apocrypha, and the Apocrypha identifies the white man as Esau, Edom. It also identifies the Spartans as Israelites. That would cause a problem, since they fabricated history and said that the Spartans are Greek. But the Bible shows you that the Spartans were actually descendants from Jacob, from Abraham. And they were out of the line. They were the sons of Jacob. All right, who had become in the Greekish fashion. All right, many of the Israelites turned to the Greekish way. Those were called the Hellenists. They're spoken about in the Bible. As a matter of fact, a lot of the times when it's talking about the Gentiles, it's talking about those Hellenists, those Greek-speaking Israelites.
I can now go on to share with you today's teaching. You see, ultimately, the goal of the synagogue of Satan is linked to a phony temple, a phony priesthood, and a phony high priest. And we need to look at what is the goal of this synagogue of Satan, because the synagogue of Satan is built upon fraud,
murder, rape, and robbery. Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus 10:8. Because of unrighteous dealings and injuries and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. That's why they have so many, JOO NGOs in America controlling both the Democratic and the RNC.
It's built upon fraud. It's a fivefold fraud. So now as we get into the teaching, I'm going to be painting with very broad brush strokes, because I trust you with Yahweh in you, that you know how to get into your...
And it's Yahweh, not Yahuwah.
Scriptures to see whether these things are so. I trust Yahweh with you that you will not go into sacred history, but you will look into historical truth to see whether these things are so. But today I am going to paint a big picture with very broad brushstrokes so that we can do an expose on the history that has been building and fermenting with the synagogue of Satan. A fivefold fraud. Number one, history. Will you look at sacred history, or the key to knowledge is historical truth? Number two, genealogy. Who is a Jew? The key to...
Now, the Israelites got scattered to the four corners of the earth among all people, so that would never work. It has to be through the Spirit. And then there's certain groups of people that we know were indeed Israelites. But you got to remember, even among those people, there are tares now. So you can't go by the outward appearance. The Israelites were scattered among all people. And so wherever the Israelite male produce seed in women, whether, of the other nations, those children are Israelites, not the other way around. When Israelite women were impregnated, either by rape or by choice, many by choice these days, unfortunately, their children are not Israelites. But when an Israelite man impregnates a woman, that child is an Israelite 100%, point blank period, because there's no such thing as half or mixed or biracial. All right. According to the Bible, according to the law of God, a child is whatever their father is, period. All right. So if your father looks like Matthew Nolan and your mother looks like, Whitney Houston, all right, you can come out looking like Whitney Houston, but you are the seed of Matthew Nolan. And if Matthew Nolan is not an Israelite, well, that's bad news for you. Okay, so this isn't a color thing. You can't go by color. All right. And he also tries to make this all inclusive with that, Yahuwah or, Yahweh in you. And the Lord, Malachi 3:6 says, "For I am Yahweh, I change not. Therefore, ye sons of Jacob are not consumed." He's all about Jacob. Let's back that one up with another one. Let's go to Joel 2:27. And it reads, "And ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel, that I am Yahweh your power, and none else. For my people shall never be ashamed." So the Lord never changes, and he told you that he's not dealing with other people. All right. So Christianity tries to include themselves in by hiding behind the fraud that he's not talking about, which is a fraud that they don't teach, that there are two sets of Gentiles. One set of Gentiles being the Israelites, and the other set of Gentiles being the natural heathen. And they can believe on the law, statutes, and commandments all that they want. All right. When the kingdom of heaven is established, it's going to be established with great violence as Babylon falls. America is Babylon the Great. Right. And only the Israelites are going to survive or make it out of here. And not just the Israelites, but only the Israelites of God, because not all Israel is Israel. All right. He's trying to point that out, alluding to that. All right. But he tries to include the heathen nations. No, that's talking about the Lord's elect, the first fruits, and the first fruits created. All right. Were Israelites.
Knowledge is zirah, seed and migration. Number 3. So
he said seed and migration, which is very true. They don't acknowledge the true migration patterns, and they don't acknowledge seed. This is why the Jewish people go by the mother, and the Bible, the Torah, completely goes against that. The Bible makes it very clear that a child is whatever the seed is. You are the seed, the bloodline of your father, regardless of what your mother is. All right. And they'll try to use the word mamzer. A mamzer is the other way around. All right. A mamzer indeed is someone whose mother is an Israelite, but their father is a heathen. Okay.
Israel. Who is Israel? Is it the state of Israel, or is the key of knowledge Bereshit, Genesis chapter 48, verse 15? And number 4, priesthood. Is it a man-made Levitical priesthood? Because we have to understand, whatever Levitical priesthood that is trumped before us in the future, it will not be a biblical Levitical priesthood. We understand that. It's going to be a counterfeit at best, but a satanic deception in reality. So number 4 is priesthood, and the key to knowledge, Ivrim, Hebrews chapter 7 and 8, the Melchizedek. And finally, the fivefold fraud, the third temple. The key.
Right, so the third temple. The temple is spiritual, not physical. All right. The temple is spiritual, not physical. It's the Hebrew Israelites after the awakening and the elect, which is representations of the 12 tribes of Israel. All right. Because if you go to Hebrews, he talked about Hebrews 7 and 8. I'm going to start. I'm going to read that and read all the way to verse 14. And it reads, and Hebrews 7 and 8. And here men that die receive tithes, but there he receiveth them, of whom it is witness that he liveth. And as I may say, Levi also, who receiveth tithes, paid tithes in Abraham, for he is yet in the loins of his father, when Melchizedek met him. If therefore the perfection were the Levitical priesthood, for under it people received the law, what further need was there for another priest that should rise after the order of Melchizedek? All right. And not be called after the order of Aaron. You see? So the Levitical priesthood is actually no more. Okay. It says, for the priesthood being changed, there is made of necessity a change also of the law. For he of whom these things are spoken pertaineth to another tribe, of which no man gave attendance at the altar. For it is evident that our Lord sprang out of Judah, the tribe which Moses spake nothing concerning priesthood. So the Lord is setting up a heavenly priesthood, and then he gives you the breakdown of it in Revelation. All right, Revelation the seventh chapter and the 9th verse. I mean, not the 9th verse, but starting at the 5th verse. All right, is basically the Israel of God, and the judges are going to be the 12 tribes, just like it was told. Peter was told, you're going to sit on thrones judging the 12 tribes of Israel. All right. But this is Revelation 7 and 5. And it says the tribe of the, I'll start at verse 4. Revelation 7:4. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. And it's actually the sons. These are the judges. That word should be sons, not children, because children would mean the women too. All right. And it said, because the women are not going to be judges. Only the elect first fruits. All right. Which were the first fruits created. All right. In heaven. And remember, before the Israelites were called the Israelites, they were called the sons of God. All right. And there's a whole, confusion and lies surrounding that. When they talked about giants, they don't look into the meaning of words. That just meant great men. All right. You know how they'll say, Mike Tyson was a giant among men, among boxers. Michael Jordan was a giant among basketball players. Michael Jackson was a giant among music entertainers. It's really simple. But Revelation 7 and 5, out of the tribe of Judah were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Reuben were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Gad were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Asher were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Naphtali were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Manasseh was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Simeon were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Levi were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Issachar were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Zebulun were sealed 12,000. And of the tribe of Joseph were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Benjamin were sealed 12,000. All right. Those are your judges and new government with heavenly, which is going to be set up here on earth as it is in heaven. The laws of heaven will be distributed and judged. All right. And enforced by these 144,000 judges forever. New world government, heavenly world government, not this mess that the elites of this current wicked, temporal world are trying to do. Verse 9, and after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and peoples and tongues, stood before the throne, before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hand. All right, and it says, and cried with a loud voice, saying, salvation to our power, which sitteth upon the throne. Didn't say everybody's. All right, and unto the Lamb. And all the angels stood around about the throne and about the elders, and the four beasts fell before the throne on their faces and worship God. So this innumerable multitude. Matter of fact, let me read up. Jump into verse 13. It says, and one of the elders answered, saying unto me, what are these which are arrayed in white robes, and whence came they? All right. And he said, and I said unto him, sir, thou knowest. And he said unto me, these are they which came out of the great tribulation, that have washed their robes and made them white with the blood of the lambs. And that mixed multitude are the Israelite foreigners that got scattered, but were of the elect. It's really simple. All right. So let's grab one quick scripture just to prove that, now that I said it. This is the book of Acts, which is all about the Israelites returning, all right, for the Pentecost, which also is talked about in 2nd Maccabees, the 12th chapter. So it was an Israelite custom. So it definitely wasn't the other heathen. And it even tells you in Acts 2 and 5 that they were returning 5 through 10 through 11. All right. You know, all the places where they returned to. As a matter of fact, in verse 9, it says, Parthian, Medes, and Elamites, and dwellers of Mesopotamia, and Judea, and Cappadocia, and Pontus, in Asia. All right. Asia meaning all of Asia. Okay. Phrygia, which is and the land of Israel sits in Western Asia. Okay. It says, in Phrygia, Pamphylia, Egypt, Libya, and Cyrene. So those were African nations, plus, you know, down in some of the islands in the Mediterranean, and strangers of Rome, Jews and proselytes, you know, or Judeans, Cretes and Arabians. We do hear them speak in our tongues the wonderful works of God. All right. So, and it tells you, verse 5, and there were dwelling at Jerusalem Judeans out of every nation under heaven. And that was a list that I just read off. Those were Judeans. So this was an Israelite thing, not an everybody thing. That's why when you jump up to Acts, and then what did it say? When you get to Acts 2 and in the same chapter, you go up to verse 21 and 22. It says, and it shall come to pass that whomsoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be saved. And so we were just talking about all these Israelites. You go back to 5. What's the subject matter? The subject matter are the Judeans, the devout men out of every nation. So we just named them all. So when you get to the whomsoever, that's who it's talking about. All right. So Acts 21, it says, and it came to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be saved. Ye men of Israel, hear these words. Yahushua of Nazareth, a man approved of God among you by miracles and wonders and signs, which God did by him in the midst of you, as ye yourself also know. All right, so with that, I rest my case. Subject matter, proper pronouns. Call halal, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakaha Kodash, Kwam Yasharala, and Shalom.